Hello and welcome to Hatha Yoga Volume 2 for our Lengthen and Liberate series. Let's get started right away. Coming into a seated position of your choice, knowing that you can always sit atop of a block if that's more comfortable. You might like to close the eyes and give yourself permission to soften. Allow yourself to experience exactly what is going on for you in the body in this moment. Perhaps noticing how the mind is responding to this posture. Knowing that there's no need to change your experience, simply observing. If it is at all helpful, you might like to set an affirmation or an intention to embody throughout the course of today's practice. Thanking yourself for showing up here today, recognizing your strength, your courage, and your resilience for arriving here on the mat to nourish the mind, the body, and the soul. We'll begin today lying down on our backs, so turning to face the short edge of the mat, placing your palms underneath the thighs, and gently use core strength to roll down one vertebra at a time. We'll start off in supine butterfly pose, Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet are touching, grounding down through the blade edges of the feet, allowing the knees to splay wide, relaxing the inner thighs, the inner hips, softening the glutes. You might like to place one palm on the belly and the other on the heart space to really facilitate a deep connection to the breath, to this moment. Performing a visual scan of the body and seeing if you can soften each region with a loving compassion. Reconnecting with your inner state of peace and harmony. Gifting yourself one more loving breath in this bound angle posture. And gently drawing the knees towards the chest. You might like to create some circles with the hips and the knees, taking any organic movement that feels nourishing. And from here we'll come into Happy Baby Ananda Balasana. You have the option to grab the blade edges of the feet or use your peace fingers and your thumb to grab a hold of the big toes. Keeping the knees bent, guiding your knees towards the armpits, towards the earth. Feeling a beautiful release along the back of the legs. You might feel a release around the lower back. And either finding stillness, or it might feel nice to straighten one leg at a time, getting deep into the hamstrings, allowing the breath to guide you. You might like to play around with extending both legs at the same time. Perhaps for this variation, it might be nice to grab a hold of the inner thighs or the inner seams of your calf muscles. One more breath in this posture, mindfully drawing the knees to the chest, and from here we'll lower our left foot down onto the earth, interlace your fingers behind the right thigh, and begin to extend the right leg skywards. If you have the mobility, perhaps extending the left leg, grounding down through the left heel. If this posture is inaccessible, you could always place a strap around the ball of your foot. And maybe you'd like to grab a hold of your big toe with your peace fingers and thumb, knowing that you can always keep that right leg bent. And it might help to place your left palm on your left hip bone to ensure that that hip stays grounded. Breathing into the back of the legs, softening the facial features, unclenching the jaw, finding stillness. One more breath in this supine hand to big toe pose, Supta Parahangusthasana, and either staying here or we'll gently guide our right leg, our right foot over to the right, finding an external hip rotation. If you're using a strap, holding the strap with your right hand, and maybe extending the left arm out at shoulder height, gazing to the left. If your hips are feeling a little unstable here, you can always guide the left heel of your foot to the outer edge of the mat to help ground you and find your establishment here. One more breath in this external hip rotation, mindfully guiding the leg through center, and this time we'll use our left palm to grab a hold of the blade edge of the right foot, guiding the right leg over to the left, and this time gazing to the right. Knowing that you can always use your strap here. If you're doing so, hold the strap in your left hand. You might notice a tremendous stretch around the outer hips, the outer glutes, perhaps the lower to mid back, really honoring your experience and doing your best to keep both shoulders connected to the earth. Guiding your awareness to the sensations of this posture. Mindfully returning the right leg towards the ceiling, towards the sky, and gently bending both knees, drawing the knees to the chest. One breath here. And we'll get set up to take this on the other side, extending the left leg, maybe extending the right leg. Finding your variation, either using a strap, placing your palms behind the thigh, behind the calf, behind the ankles, or grabbing a hold of the big toe. The more that you can keep that left foot flexed, pushing your heel towards the sky, the more intense of a stretch you will feel in the hamstrings and the calf muscle. So you get to decide what this posture feels like today. One more intentional breath in this posture. And finding a gentle external hip rotation as we guide the left leg over to the left and gaze towards the right. Feeling a beautiful release along the entire inner seam of that left leg. Perhaps noticing a hip flexor stretch on the right hand side as well. Cultivating a sense of deep compassion and appreciation for where you are on your journey. Reminding yourself that flexibility and mobility are a practice, so each and every time that you commit to showing up on your mat, you are strengthening your capacity to invite new possibilities and new frontiers into your experience. Be patient, be persistent. Beautiful work guiding the leg towards the sky, and this time grabbing a hold of the outer edge of that left foot with the right hand as you guide the left leg over to the right. Gazing to the left, finding stillness. Noticing if the mind had begun to wander, perhaps reminding yourself of the intention or the affirmation that you set, and gently releasing, guiding the knees to the chest. Well done. It might feel nice to sway the hips and the knees from side to side. Placing the palms under the thighs, and we'll roll up into a seated position, taking as many spinal rolls as you like, feeling a beautiful massage for the lower back. And we'll set up for Child's Pose Balasana, sinking the hips towards the heels, big toes together, knees splayed wide. Seeing if it's possible to create space between the shoulders and the earlobes. Inhale, mindfully guide yourself upright to a tabletop position on all fours. Tuck the toes under, engage the core, press into the palms, and we'll extend the legs into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Perhaps pedaling out the legs, grounding down through the index fingers and the thumbs, elongating the entire back body. Feeling yourself growing longer, becoming more expansive, more at ease. On your next inhale, we'll ground down through our palms, bend the right knee, and we'll guide our right foot down between the hands, pivoting on an angle, twisting the body to the left as we come into triangle pose, Trikonasana. So the right toes are facing forwards, the left foot is relatively parallel with the short edge of the mat. You might like to rest your fingertips atop of the earth, perhaps hold onto your ankle or your shin, really doing your best to elongate the waist here, elongating the obliques, lengthening the spinal column, the back of the neck, keeping both legs extended if possible, feeling a tremendous stretch around the QL region of the lower back, perhaps a deep stretch for the hamstrings as well, really honoring your experience. One more breath. Mindfully place both palms on the earth and we'll pivot our torso forwards, coming into a revolved pyramid. This time the left palm is under the left shoulder, right arm is raising skywards, gazing up, doing your best to keep the pelvis stable and aligned here. It's just the torso that is twisting. Guiding your awareness to the sensations of the back body, perhaps the back of the legs. 2 more mindful breaths. Gently place the right palm down on the earth, and from here we'll come into a traditional pyramid pose. So allowing the chest, the belly to melt atop of that front leg, maybe guiding your nose towards your shin, finding length before you hinge forwards. If the ground feels a little far away in any of these postures, know that you could always place your hands on some blocks or on some thick books. Listen to your body, listen to your inner guidance system, and know when you are ready to modify postures. From here, planting down through the palms, we'll extend our left leg back as we come into a standing split. For this variation, we're going to keep the hips squared, so you might not be able to lift the leg as high, but it's a really beautiful way to strengthen and simultaneously lengthen the hamstrings. Keeping the left foot flexed, doing your best to keep that leg straight. Finding length through the torso, drawing that navel to the spine. Use the glutes and the hamstrings of the left leg to help you raise that leg. Beautiful work, mindfully stepping back into downward facing dog. Reconnecting with this moment. On your next inhale, pressing into the palms and guiding the left foot forwards as we set up for Trikonasana, triangle pose on the left. Knowing that you could always rest that left palm on a block or two. The importance is to find length in the torso, in the waist, before we hinge the torso forwards. Opening the heart space, doing your best to keep the wrists, the elbows, and the shoulders aligned. Beautiful work. Mindfully place the right palm under the right shoulder, pivot the torso to the front. You might like to step the back leg in a few centimeters and we'll come into a revolved pyramid or revolved triangle. This time the right palm is on the earth, left arm is skywards, gaze up, squaring off the hips, lengthening the entire back body here. Exhale, left palm to the earth, and we'll come into a traditional pyramid forward fold. Again, reminding yourself of the possibility of blocks. With every exhalation, seeing if you can soften the torso a little more. Allow the back to lengthen as you bend atop of that left leg. Really grounding down through the blade edge and the heel of that right foot, the leg that is in the back, to help support you. On your next inhale, placing the palms under the shoulders, bending the left knee, and transferring your weight into that left leg as we raise the right leg, coming into a standing split. Keeping the hips squared, keeping that right foot flexed, and using your strength to help elevate that leg. Reminding yourself that you are capable, you are strong, and you can do this. It's a practice. Keep showing up. One more mindful breath. Gently bending the front knee, placing the palms on the earth and stepping back into downward facing dog. Beautiful work. You might like to close the eyes here and reconnect with your introspective experience. This is our final down dog, so give yourself permission to stretch out the entire body here. Feel a sense of liberation as you establish yourself firmly in this posture. Mindfully bend the knees, point the toes, and come into diamond pose. Beautiful work. From here, we'll cactus the arms out wide, elbows at shoulder height. Exhale, forearms together, chin to chest. A few more rounds. Finding some beautiful spinal extensions and flexions, lightly engaging the abdomen. Interlacing your fingers together behind the back, extend the arms, gaze up. Exhale, coming into a child's pose as we keep the bind, resting your forehead either on a block or on the earth, and imagining as though you can guide your arms overhead towards the earth. Inhale, raise. We're going to close practice with a deep hamstring stretch, sundial pose or compass pose, Surya Yantrasana. It does require a tremendous amount of shoulder mobility though, so be gentle, give it a go. If it doesn't work for you, know that you can always rest in child's pose or an asana of your choice. Otherwise, keep showing up until you nail this posture. Coming into Dandasana stick pose, both legs are extended. Grounding down through the right heel, keeping that right leg extended and activated, bending the left knee. And we're going to cradle that left leg, so placing the foot and the knee in opposite elbow creases, beginning to open the hip, moving the leg from side to side, keeping the vertebral column lengthened. When you feel that your hip is mobile and fluid, we are going to put our leg over our shoulder like a backpack strap. So the leg is the backpack. We want to get the knee on top of our shoulder. We're going to take our right palm and use it to grab a hold of the outer edge of that left leg, grounding down through the left fingertips, maybe extending the right leg skywards, pointing both toes to help you find engagement throughout the entire body, and really using that left shoulder to press into the left thigh and help you broaden across the heart space to help you maximize your respiration. Beautiful work. Gently release. Maybe finding some internal and external hip rotation. And we'll get set up to take this on the other side. So starting in Dandasana, this time grounding down through the left leg, bending the right knee, and beginning to cradle your right leg. Knowing that you can warm up the hip here for as long as you like, and maybe staying in this variation is enough for you. When you feel ready, we're going to put our backpack on. Using the right arm, we're going to place the right knee on top of the right shoulder, firmly grabbing your right heel or your right outer foot with your left hand and grounding down through the right fingertips, the right palm, extending the right arm, using the right arm to press into the left leg as a counterbalance, maybe beginning to extend that right leg skywards. You'll notice that the majority of your weight is distributed on that left butt cheek as the right glute is elevated in this posture, and that is okay. Use the right arm to help support you here. Maybe pointing both of your feet, pointing the toes and the ankles to really help you connect with your inner strength and your inner engagement. Guiding your breath to any regions where you're feeling sensation. And gently releasing. Beautiful work. Finding any movement that feels good, and from here you might like to join me in seated bound angle or butterfly Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees splay wide, guiding the heels towards the pubic bone, lengthening the spine, and maybe finding some circular movements with the head and the neck. Either staying upright, or you might like to hinge the torso forwards from the hips, coming into a fold. This could be a great opportunity to rest your forehead on a block, perhaps placing a bolster under your chest, knowing that you can always make these postures your own. And when you're ready, slowing down, finding stillness, and being present with the sensations in the outer glutes, perhaps the back of the body as well. Breathe. You are welcome to stay in bound angle for as long as you like. And when you're ready, raising the torso, coming into a comfortable seated position to close practice, closing the eyes, perhaps placing one palm on the belly, the other on the heart space, feeling yourself in this moment, feeling the breath. Thanking yourself for showing up here today. On your next inhale, gently raise the arms skyward, stretch the torso. Exhale, palms to the third eye center. The light and the teacher in me honors and salutes the light and the teacher in each and every one of you. Thank you so much for today. I'm sending you all of my love. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.